Da-da. It's Dork Court. It's Dork Court. I love that sound. I love the. What is that word? Somebody will tell me in the comics. Exogenesis? Exogenesis? You must know this, Walker Young.
Yep.
What's the sound in movies that is part of the actual scene?
The ambiance. Oh,
That-
it's on. It's like on stage music or something.
There's a word for it. It's like, and it's I'm pretty sure it has Genesis in it. It's like exogenesis, ecogenesis. I don't know what you're doing, but you have blocked yourself out. So we're gonna go to Steve Ukraine live via satellite.
Via something. I don't know. Probably not satellite.
What's going on, Mr. Steve?
What's going on? Sorry, I missed the intro.
It was funny. It was a standard, in Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. How we doing? Like same as always. That bad, huh?
Nice.
Walker's like, I gotta go get one of Mommy's cookies and some water. Just wait a minute. But I've already hit go live. So
Smart.
that was cool.
Well, we're figuring it out. Nice.
The rough-hewn homespun ambiance is part of the charm. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, I happen to be chatting with a couple buddies that I work with, and one being Kevin, another one just a couple people I work with, and they were just saying how this kind of hits exactly the type of nerdism that they look for. And they're just like, it feels like just a bunch of people sitting around talking about stuff. And I'm like, that's kind of exactly what it is. And it's funny because I said we, for how many years, have just been having this ongoing conversation all day, every day in Facebook Messenger for the past, 15 years.
Yeah.
And now instead we finally were like, we still do that, except now it's just once a week we get on camera and talk to one another for an hour. That's kind of the only difference.
Yeah. I think that this whole thing is the natural extension of just us hanging out for 20 years.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
How many times at San Diego did we start saying, oh, it'd be cool if somebody followed us around with a camera? And then that turned into, when we were leaving that time, we were like, wouldn't it be cool if we had security? And then those two security guards were like so into it. They were like, no, we're leaving. Oh, but wait, we have one last chance
job
to do something joyful for these two morons.
Yeah.
And I got this great picture of them. They instantly went from, man, I already feel like I had 3 beers and I'm blood already, to, yes, just right this way, Mr. Ukraine.
Yeah.
It was bananas awesome. So then the natural extension is that we just have our own show.
Exactly. We just do it. Just start it.
So thank you for the tens of people who give a shit.
Yeah.
Because it is like, that's totally what you and me and Walker and Mark, of course, are going for. It's just like, hey, we're well-informed enthusiasts just like you. Like, we don't have to explain what the best Star Trek episode is or how we feel about the end of Lost or whatever. You kind of get that. That's the ante to get in.
Yeah.
Because and it's awesome because the audience is self-selecting, right?
Yeah.
If you don't care about the weird shit we're going to talk about, you just, we're not bothering anybody. But
No.
if you do, like, yes, I hate horror movies, but Return of the Living Dead is the best movie ever made. Like, if you're one of those guys, please come.
Yes. Mark, I think, has an opinion.
Talk to us.
So. Are you? It's 3. You out of school already? Are you off?
I get out of school on Thursdays. I get out of school at 2:05.
Oh,
because we have like weird block schedules where we have classes for an hour and a half.
Yeah. That makes
like
sense.
Each. And so I don't have like a class at the end of the day. So I just get out at 2:05, and it's really nice to come home when it's light outside.
Yeah. Is it raining in San Francisco right now? Are you dealing with any rain or wind?
A lot of wind, some rain.
It's very blustery.
Yeah, very windy out here.
But it hasn't really started to rain yet. It's been spitting all day.
Got it.
This is the first big storm though that we're gonna finally test. We think we've got our cabin watertight.
Oh, wait, the backyard cabin?
Yeah,
or...
yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
It was a fun thing. Like, how are we getting standing water here? But it's like a quarter cup of water. It's not like there's a broken window and you know what that is. But it's a significant amount of water. It's not just
where
like
it's coming in from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to figure out. But the flashing has a decorative piece slammed up against it, and there is no place for the water to drain, basically.
So it went right behind it,
So
and then right under?
Yeah, it kind of snuck around where it could go. And bad news for us, that was across the floor.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why there wasn't a lot. Even though there was a lot of rain, like actually hitting it from that direction that night, it might as well have had like a little funnel going there, but it was a microscopic one.
Well, as long as you know where it is, that's the trick. The hardest thing is always finding where the leak is coming from, right?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Nice.
Look at Sagasag also has class situation still on the mod system. The way I could figure it out, Walker's class system is very dynamic. And sometimes it gets front loaded, so he has a day like this. But then he also has 90 to 93 different sports that he's excellent at. And so sometimes he just sticks around until 7 o'clock anyway. So I never know what's going on until what happens is what happened yesterday, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Where you're just like,
So-
hey, why aren't you here picking me up? Or
No, yesterday.
No, Daddy's not that guy.
No,
The rest of his family is.
yesterday was a short day. So like everyone gets out at 2:25. I get out early because I don't have a last class, so everyone gets out early. So we were starting lacrosse practice at 3 instead of 4, like we normally do. So we normally go from 4 to 5:30. So I was like, oh, we'll go from 3 to 4:30 today. But our coach was there. So we just went for like 2.5 hours instead of an hour and a half.
Yep, sounds right.
So I felt very bad that because my phone was dead, so I didn't have any communication system. So I was very appreciative that
At
that I
every
waited for an hour.
step of the process, you were fine because at 12:30 I told him, "All right, I understand your life is a dynamic situation. Keep me updated." My issue is that's the last I heard from him, right? There was no updating. So
Yeah,
I'm like, last I heard, we go to 4:30. The reason why it wasn't a big deal is usually whenever I know I have to pick him up, I usually just kill the hour before, like surfing around on my phone or puttering around doing dishes or something. I don't really do anything. So I have that elastic buffer. Like if I have to go right now,
I can do it. Right. Yeah.
Or, I can leave a little early. I'm just dadding it, right?
Yeah. Same. I get it. I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. But so I told him it's not that big a deal because I either sit on in my chair right there that you can see,
right,
or and surf my phone for an hour, or sit in the front seat parked on the sidewalk or across from the gate to get him and surf my phone for an hour. It's literally no difference to me. So
yeah, no, I get that.
Big deal for Dad.
Yeah, my thing would just be like, give me what you think the current scenario is right now, and that's where you were working against. So
yeah, that was my issue. It's like I don't care sitting around for an hour, but am I sitting around for an hour in the correct spot? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, are you guys? Yeah, that makes total sense. So
anyway. Hey, you can't tell, but you know what I did?
It looks like you built a wall. What's going on?
This side's the cool thing that you gave me.
Yeah. That looks like shelving.
I think you can get it. Yeah, I did a little.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Oh, you sealed off your little office thing.
I did sort of a little sealing off. There is an area that acts like as a window to the outside.
Okay. Oh, like kind of by where the challenge coin frame.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I've been there. So.
Been to my office. There's another computer off this side that's running a lower system, so I can keep some apps going. And so, like,
You get sunlight.
There's room for a third one, which I probably would have done, except my Batman mask from the JSA wall. It would be like up against his nose, and maybe I could get away with that with Sandman because
So what
he's
what
kind
do
of a
we
meek character.
what do we stocking the shelves with right now? Is it just
Right now, I'm cleaning it. I actually finished. I put up the last one yesterday, so I'm basically getting all the stuff that was on the desk up off, so I can see what kind of space I'm working for it with.
I like this?
And but yeah, the bottom thing is all our non-English language translation books.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.
Just somehow it was in a box, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool place for those.
Nice.
Looks like something. Oh, Bad Landos or whatever that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Called in Portuguese.
I love that. That's too good. It's cool. It looks good. My brain. I also turned to my desk as well because normally you get my.
You had the window behind you, right?
Well, you get my surf poster and scanners, or I don't know what side they show up.
Yes,
but I just turned to my desk, so now you're getting my Toxic Avengers and my.
So I'll tell you, wherever you are looking now, where Toxic Avenger is. Okay, the other one, part 2, the last that one, right? That's where Scanners was.
Yes.
In the old orientation.
Yeah, I set it up so that where I'm pointing is where things are. Although I think it's probably reversed or something.
It looks backwards. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I still haven't. I'm contemplating where I'm putting the Escape from New York. That's the big question of the moment. I don't know where that goes.
I firmly believe you do that, like as part of this Andy Kaufman kind of decades-long thing, where it's like, this is left. You know, and we're like, okay, Steve, I don't know.
Maybe you don't.
It gives you this secret joy to do that.
Well, it's. Am I pointing at Larry's head right now? Is this Larry's?
No, see that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it works for me because that's pointing into Larry's head. So I internally laugh, and no one else gets it.
So yeah, we kind of went off. The most important part of that conversation is, where do you put your New York Escape from New York poster?
I don't know.
I'm
on the fence.
It's the theatrical painting, right, where he's like running in front of the head of the Statue of Liberty. Oh,
yeah, it's.
I love
legit,
that.
It's legit, real. Like
one of the first things I did when I drove into San Francisco was drive over to Haight Street to meet a friend of mine at Cha Cha Cha's. Okay, and I parked over by Escape from New York Pizza, and they had that movie poster.
Yes.
Just fucking fading in the sun.
Yes.
Right? And because it'd been there for 10 years. And I was like, okay, this is my city. Where they take this fucking jewel.
Yeah. And it just sun warped.
Anywhere else in the universe, this is like a $10,000 movie poster.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, fucking put it up in the fucking window there. We're making pizza. I'm like, yes, I want to live in this city.
The best thing about Escape from New York on Haight Street is all of the autograph pictures.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Walker, you have to go. Because if you go to Amoeba, you got to walk down and you got to just look at the names of the people, because they pinned that up there probably like 25 years ago. So everyone that's up there is like, who I think myself as like a 20-year-old would be completely like mind boggled by, like, how do you have this group of people all pinned up there? It's like, but it's like Jack Nicholson. It's like the names are insane. And it's all like, thanks for the pizza. Thanks for the great pizza, Escape from New York. And it's like Jack Nicholson and like, I don't even think I like Willie Mays. And it's just like the names are like absolutely insane, because like, it's not even like, now it wouldn't even be, it's considered like super old Hollywood royalty and sports royalty. It's like not even people you would expect to like get an autograph of. You couldn't. And I'm sure like 20% of it, they're all dead. It's just, and again, it's exactly like it's exactly like the Escape from New York poster. It's just sitting there fading in the sun, like 100, probably like $30,000 of like people's autographs, just like fading in the sun. I don't know. And the pizza's great. So I don't know. No complaints.
All this story made me do, Walker, is think that we need an old school Hollywood black and white 8x10 of you, like a headshot of you just going, whatever, and then carry those around with us, and just like leave them at stores.
I do.
Like,
I think
hey, just like we're some dumb store that you go to in the Stones, like Shake Shack. Yeah, Shake Shack. Just like,
hey, would you mind
Shake
putting?
Shack, I love that red pepper burger. Keep them flying, Walker Young, and give it to him, and then see what happens.
Well,
Dude,
here's what I will say.
You
have to have those.
One.
You have to have those for San Diego. That's all I'm putting out there. You have to have a stack of them.
Dude, I was just thinking, tell the story how you were treated at Chris's at Invisible Jet, and think, why do we not have those pictures right now?
We so we went to this weekend. We went to a comic store I really enjoy going to called Invisible Jet over by West Portal, and it not just because it's a great store, but because they were doing a signing with who was it? No,
Derek,
this is really
Derek
bad.
Robertson and Gary Whitta.
Yes.
So
Derek
from The Boys and Gary from Rogue One.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I've known Derek forever, and Gary pitched us something once in the old days. So we have what do you think that is? We recognize each other's names and are polite when we meet each other. So it's not really like he's a friend of mine or I'm claiming any sort of kinship to him, like in Planet of the Apes.
Right.
But yeah, it's not like awkward when I show up, and it was really cool to come in with my wife and kid.
That's pretty cool.
And so what happened? How were we treated? We walk in.
Yeah. So we walk in, and
in the middle of the sign-in from 12 to 4, we show up around 2. So the crazy people have left, but they're still in line. That's where we're at. Okay.
So we walk in, and Chris, the owner, is like, "Oh, the famous people are here." So that was really fun.
That was awesome because, my kid got to hear that. Like his dad's always saying, "Hey, I was kind of a big shot in the old days." And so it was cool for him to see it. But then, hey, wait a second. It was cool from a dad perspective because Chris knows about his Untitled Walker Young project. Right. We have to go back to press because she wants to sell them.
Oh, okay.
So, which is awesome. We gave our last 2 to Derek Robertson and Gary Whitta. So that's cool. Legendary for your first printing. That could not have worked out better. Chris was so cool. And she said, "Look, the famous people are here."
Yeah.
Because she saw Walker first. Oh, and then, who's that kid? Right, that's that kid. And that's his dad, right? And they just treated us like that, and which was amazing. Which made Derek's head snap around. He's like, "Oh my God, Larry Young's here!" Which is like, God bless you, Derek. Right? You're at a fucking signing where people are there to,
get your stuff signed.
Shine your shoes.
Yeah.
That was cool. So there was a guy who like introduced himself to me because I was a friend of Derek, so I must be some cool guy.
Oh,
it was really neat. It was a great signing. That store is great.
Here's what I will always say: Derek has always been the most down to earth creator person that you've ever associated with at that booth. He's always come over and said hello for years. I mean, he don't know me from Bob, but he always like comes and says hello. I like. Great guy. So
Derek's great. I love it.
Which is why like all the success for the boys, all to him. I'm sure.
No, of course. Oh my God, that's so fun though. Like I love comedy. We're story structure guys. Me and the kid. We like comedy's the best way to learn about storytelling because it goes down easy. And I love listening to Bill Burr's podcast. And he was telling this story about. He was out with his brother and some of his buddies from high school, and they were just having some beers, and they get accosted by some Bill Burr fan, and his brother especially would not let it go. He's like, "Oh, hey, Billy, you're some fan of yours because you're a fucking big shot." And sometimes people don't get that, like, even if celebrities are believing their own press, man, there are people that, there's an expression about this, that, like, Jesus was not a prophet in his own hometown. because everybody's like, fucking Jesus owes me 35 drachma from lunch money when we were in second grade.
Right.
Fuck that guy, son of God. Fuck him too. You know, that's just how it is when people know you from way back. And the reason I love Derek so much is because he was never like that, right? So like, one of your buddies is like having a good ride, like that's great because Derek takes you along with him, right?
Yeah.
He's
Like I said,
he doesn't go, hey, smell my ass, look at me. He's like, hey, come on, we got some cool stuff happening. And
although sadly a lot more do the I'm important, kiss my ass kind of thing. But that's just how it is.
You know how I feel about that.
I do. Well, speaking of comedy, Walker,
Yes.
Interested to get your perspective on this. The green light of the Naked Gun reboot with Leslie Nielsen. Like, is that not the greatest casting of all time for a movie? Like, I'm trying to order tickets.
Objection!
For the premiere.
You're leading the witness.
Yeah, sorry.
The court of dorks have spoken.
I'm super excited.
The question is, what is your perspective of the incredible Liam Neeson's?
I'm super excited. I think Liam Neeson's gonna play it really well. I think we watched the first Naked Gun, and it was good. I'm excited to see how Liam Neeson's gonna play it. Personal opinion, I liked Police Squad better.
Oh well, I think a lot of people.
Let me remind the young man that you're basically saying, hey, fuck Wrath of Khan because I'm a original series guy.
No, I'm aware.
They're the same guys, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's the same
but
guy.
I think everybody thinks Police Squad was where it's at. That's a half hour at a time joke.
Yeah,
that's not a theatrical length joke. But they did it 3 times, so something was working.
Oh, 100%. And you the intention of the Police Squad, you got to realize you can get, when you make a movie, it's mass audience. So everyone that didn't get the jokes from Police Squad, they got to reuse and get paid
again.
Get paid again. So there's it's
a higher percentage of people not get what they were going for.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's Zucker and Abrams. So
it's going to be great. That's who you cast. It's like, I feel the same way about that because like 12 hours before the news comes out that Cary Elwes is playing the grandfather in the Muppets version of Princess Bride. And I was thinking, of course he is. Like, why did they even have to announce that? Literally, who else do you get to do that? That's amazing. And by the way, Walker, that means your theory
is probably right.
That's canon. The fucking Dread Pirate Roberts is now the grandfather. You win forever. But then that's how I felt about it when I hear, Liam Neeson is cast as Frank Drebin, and I'm like, well, of course he is. Who is the biggest straight-laced guy ever who actually gets that he's in on his own joke so far that you kind of doubt that he's in on his own joke, right? Like, that's a giant trick that Leslie Nielsen and basically Liam Neeson and maybe William Shatner. But after that, that's a really short list of guys who have been able to make their Act 2 even better than their Act 1 based on making fun of Act 1.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's a real hat trick to pull out for an actor.
100%. Like, and I know we were sharing back and forth all the clips of like of Liam Neeson and like on like shorts and like all the little clips he has. I know how cool is that? But like all the Liam Neeson, like whenever he touches comedy, like the fact that he does it so straight, is just so smart and so brilliant and so funny. And here's the sad part, though: there will be people that don't get it.
Well,
and I know
that's the nature of that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
You can't really worry about those people, or you got to Andy Kaufman it, right? I mean, like be the bunny, keep that hat on, right?
Yeah,
and that's what I love about Liam Neeson, because he is, oh my God, he spent the last 10 years basically auditioning for this, right? He's like, hey, if you guys ever do that Police Squad, I thought that was really good when I was a boy in Ireland. Let me tell you about it. And by the way, Like think of every Saturday Night Live skit he's in about like, you know, he's auditioning for Santa, but he does it with a Taken it, you know, thing.
Right.
Come on.
I mean, yeah. Listen, Liam Neeson doesn't. I watched all of those like those like nonstop and like
yeah,
Cold Pursuit and like
Walker. What are those that we watched? Those Liam Neeson ones that it's just the same movie. Liam Neeson gets fucked with on a bus. Liam Neeson gets fucked with on a train. Liam Neeson's got a hangover in this one, but it's still a train.
Yeah, Retribution, Memory, Nonstop.
Memory
it's like
good.
all of these, like Cold Pursuit, like every single Icy Road. It's like every the Marksman, Cold Story, Unknown. Every single, it's just like a single title. He's just. Yeah.
But of course,
anyway.
I'm dying laughing because every like breath in between, I fill in like sore hip, impacted tooth. You know, it's like oh my god, poor Liam Neeson. But the thing that's like not joking about that, every one of those movies is straight up entertaining.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Straight up, like no joke. I don't get it. Like everything is done. There's no tongue in cheek. Nope. It's like everybody serious. Went to work that day and knew their lines and pulled it off. And here you go. We're going to do another one, except this one's on an inflatable kayak boat.
Yeah, this one's on a plane. Exactly.
And it's like, this time they took his wallet, you know? It's like,
right. Like, that's why, like,
I just don't get how they keep doing that. And it's so entertaining.
And
everyone is so earnest. It's great.
And now I'm thinking about it. I kind of want like a Taken 4 to come out right before this Naked Gun movie. Like I kind of almost want like one last like I am the baddest action guy of all time, and then like, or actually think about it. What if it even started like that? Like the movie started as like a completely serious like action movie, and then it kind of like flips the switch and turns into like the Naked Gun. Like he's taking it as serious as the Taken, except everyone else is not. Or something. I don't know.
Like, no, that totally works. I was gonna say get a like Barbie Oppenheimer thing going, where like the only guy that was in on it was him. So he's playing stuff in one movie he knows he's gonna pay off in another movie. But I actually like your idea. Yours is more commercial because you just have the intro to Frank Drebin be full on Liam Neeson action movie guy, and so then that way when it's revealed that he's an actual doofus,
right?
Then it's like goes into like Pink Panther territory. And then Act 3 is full on like So yeah, that's great. We don't have to see the movie. We just did the perfect one in our head.
Yeah, exactly. Until we see it. What else? Oh, I'm trying to think of what else was announced this week. I mean, we can talk about Dune, but I wanted to see what else. Did Apple TV announced Neuromancer? Did you see that?
I did. Holy crap! But can I just tell my kids something for a second? There's a little flash going up on my thing right now that said Manny messaged you. Should I tell you what's going on? Okay.
Off on what?
Manny Bello, the artist of Hench and Henched Again, whatever the second one was called, and then he did something else. I don't know. Dugout. He did Dugout for us. He said, "Hey, call me about Jack Fry 2." So
that guy's.
So you remember when we were standing in the airport and I showed you the images from the guy in Brazil and you were all excited?
It's getting hot in here. Damn. Hold on.
So Manny's willing to talk to you about 13 pages of Jack Fry by Night.
That's awesome.
That's some good news. Another step
that makes me feel really good.
All right.
Speaking of just one more thing. Speaking of the Untitled Walker Young project.
You found a copy under a sofa cushion?
I haven't, but I've got my notes for the what's
Part
it called?
2? Jack Fry?
Not Jack Fry. No, the Return to Planet of the Capes. Yeah,
gotcha.
I've got my notes, and I feel very professional with my script and my handwritten notes that I need, and I've been looking it over.
All right,
well, make sure you keep that. Because if I know your dad, we'll do a version where that gets added as a page next to the page.
I just did arrange 3. Speaking of that, that's you're talking about the Rex Mantooth book we did, where it was like 36 pages, and I was like,
annotated Rex Mantooth, right?
yeah, you can't really do. That's too short to do a trade, and I didn't want to just do another floppy because what's that proof? And so then I just thought about annotated Shakespeare, right, where you'd have the scan of the portfolio, and then they'd have like something you could actually read on the other side with annotations and like, oh, he's talking about a girl's elbow skin there, like that's a word that everyone would have gotten 400 years ago, but stuff like that. I just told Fraction do that, but turn it up to 11, and it came up with a really cool book. So I did that with we got Greg Rucka to do an intro, Joe Casey to do a preface, Warren Ellis to do some kind of, we had like 5 or 6 things. And so I did that for my loose cannon book. And I was just arranging that today. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah. But definitely have that aside. Keep it.
What I'm saying is that will be in the big Jack Fry collection in the back,
yes,
right?
100%.
The back matter stuff.
I have
of the manuscript.
I have a giant book of all of everything I've written and annotated, and with its final projects. So it's a binder about this big, and I'm just still adding to it.
Well, it's just going to keep on getting bigger. Don't. It just keeps on growing. That's it.
Hey, remind Steve. He knows this about. Oh God, I forget. The guy did 16 Candles and Breakfast Club. John Hughes.
Oh, John Hughes.
John Hughes is like 30 or 50 composition books that are just filled with his scribblings. I told Walker that, and he's like, "Oh, that's great," because they're always going to make composition books. So you can just, when you finish one, you just put it up on the shelf. So he's got a few going.
Oh, there you go. Nice. I actually think John Hughes actually put that out as like a thing, didn't he?
What, they collected all that into a book? I gotta go.
Maybe no. Maybe I'm just thinking of maybe it's just a John Hughes book that I recall seeing back in the day that was just like an what is it called? Life Moves Pretty Fast or something like that. I think that's one of his books. Anyway, Life in Film, Life Moves Fast. I can't think of what it is right now. I'll have to eBay it. Next week. Life moves very fast.
I was going to say, if you need help putting stuff up on the screen, I know how to do that now.
Yeah.
Wait, somebody talks me through it.
Yeah, no, I just remember.
We have to go back to the Neuromancer because I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
But Walker and I are enjoying this show called Extraordinary. Have you heard about this?
No.
Charlie Jane Anders, who was super cool, bringing it back to Walker and breaking the internet with the Princess Bride thing. Charlie Jane was the editor of IO9 who broke that story. So I have fondness for Charlie Jane because of stuff like that forever.
Is it Extraordinary?
Yeah. Isn't that what I said? Extraordinary?
Superhero comedy?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
So we've been Charlie Jane just put that out and said it was great. The second season had got announced and everybody's sleeping on it. And I was like, well, I never heard of it. And I really trust their taste. So I got that. So I went and checked it out. I watched the first one at lunch. I watched like the first 10 minutes and I was like, oh, gotta stop this. I know the kid's gonna like this and probably the wife.
Oh, it's Disney Plus.
And so it's on Disney or Hulu, right?
It's Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, it was on Hulu, but you can't get it on Disney now because
they're
it's a
together.
British thing to Hulu. And I did a little research on it. The season 2 was greenlit 2 days before the season 1 was even debuted. The pilot was debuted because they got such internally. There was such like, oh, this is a strong one. We're good. And it's on the paper, it's not my kind of thing at all. It's like it just shouldn't work. And it totally does because it's all the stuff that I hate with a really cool, aloof British Monty Python-esque sense of humor.
Okay.
And so they get me with all of that, and I'm like, Oh well, no, yes, I'm on your elite side now.
Is it like a
American dudedattery?
is it like a Faulty Towers kind of superhero-esque kind
It's
of, or
it's not that broad. I'm kind of overselling it with the Monty. It's more like people whose parents liked Monty Python and
got it?
passed along their love of Monty Python to these kids who are doing their own thing with it.
Okay, that's
You know,
cool.
like you ever notice like all the Dune press now is like Austin Powers, whatever his name is, Zendaya, and Timothy
Austin
Chalamet-
Butler.
Austin Butler, and
I like Austin Powers better though.
and Florence Pugh, and the four of them are all super snide and sarcastic, and all the time. And like I noticed because I was watching all the press because that's the DVD Blu-ray of my world now, and I watch it at lunch on YouTube, and so I'll see them different, those four core, but not all at once, at different things in different combinations. And they all do different stories because they're professional and they're spreading out
Right.
their anecdotes.
The publicists are doing their job.
Yeah, across the junket, which is all 100%. But all four of them interact with the same tone with each other and the reporters. And I was like, this is fucked up until I realized I only think this is fucked up because I'm expecting, Johnny Dangerously to come out and do some bit with Johnny Carson, right? And these guys were all raised on media.
Yes. Yeah. They're
And
like, it's
so-
not a, yeah, they don't, it's not a show. It's kind of like an element of the
part-
job, right?
Yeah, it's part of the job. And the way that the young kids deal with it is with this aloof attachment of like remove, and I get what's going on, but check out how funny I am or entertaining or pretty or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of them are more subtle about it than others, but all four of them have it.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah. It's
Austin Butler gets it in a little better because he's got that drawl, and nobody that talks like that is real saying anything real mean,
right.
Right. Oh, but he is. It just goes down easier. That's all.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's so true though. I didn't even think about it from that sense.
I'm just super alert to it because the shit that comes out of that kid's mouth is way ahead of where I was in terms of like, understanding storytelling and narrative and, how the audience reacts. And it's because being a digital native means that you have been content producer and part of the audience forever. Your entire life, you've been on stage as well as watching the people on stage. Right. That's a really weird mix to be at. It's cool to watch as a dad, but like, I don't know if I could dig it. And then the answer is that's because I'm not the guy for this time and place.
You're right. They're not selling it to you anymore. Like you said earlier, like the Johnny Carsons are kind of done. Like to go on a show and have the shtick. It's kind of like, like even back to what we were talking about, like Naked Gun, like
right.
You're kind of going to miss the idea that like, Leslie Nielsen would go on these shows and play like the Frank Drebin, like the straight guy, except he'd have like a fart machine in his pocket and he'd be playing the straight guy and he'd be like still playing the Frank Drebin character as the Leslie Nielsen person.
Right.
But like nowadays a kid would never take place. Like I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I watched Walker. Whenever Walker tells Mr. Steve what you tell me when I'm like, how do you know that? It's the same answer every time. He'll like
I saw it on The Simpsons.
Yeah, he'll get this 1,000-yard stare and go, "Daddy, I watched 30 seasons of The Simpsons in 8 months during the lockdown. I get everything.
I have the world's
like
the
the
world's extensive knowledge is in my brain. Every reference. I understand.
Yeah. No, I listen, I get it. Like the crazy part is I'm old enough to remember The Simpsons not as a cartoon and as a skit from the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how old I am. Although, ironically, I'm actually older than Terrence Stamp in Superman 2. I had to look that up because
dude, I had such a blast doing that. I hope I didn't piss you off.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. That was like the greatest thing ever. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, I can see that. And then I was like, I wonder how old he was in that movie. I'm actually older, which is scary.
Do you know what that picture is, though? Like,
is that from when he like puts himself in Mount
dude,
Rushmore?
that's a picture of you, man.
No, I know that's me.
No,
No,
so do you know what the picture's from? Is what
no
I'm
idea.
saying.
Would you screen grab me from something?
Yeah, Lauren had some picture of you and one of the girls swimming, and
Oh,
you're just
funny.
like popping it, and it's her too, I think. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh,
whole
yeah, yeah.
family.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you're just like popping out of the back, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man,
Perfect.
I'm gonna start putting Steve in the back of like really funny pictures, like just popping up out of the back, like
That's
maybe
amazing.
like Cliff and Norman cheers, and
Oh
you're
my
like
god.
over one of their shoulders. And so then I was fooling around with it today, and I went, oh, that's close enough to Teddy Roosevelt's eye line on the.
I love
on
it.
That.
Oh,
And it took me 2 seconds, but
that makes it even
That's
better.
what-
No, yeah.
That's what it is.
My favorite part is it put me down the rabbit hole of Superman 2 that I hadn't been in a while, and I was like, first off, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, which also is like, man, Terrence Stamp is fucking spectacular.
Yeah, beyond perfect. Yeah.
Beyond perfect, and Gene Hackman's in it, so you don't even lose the Lex Luthor. So like, they didn't do the normal like bad guy, not in the next movie, different bad guy. They were like, no, Lex Luthor's going to be here for the whole ride, and that's kind of pretty awesome. And then I was just looking up how old everyone was in that movie, and man, they're like, Gene Hackman's like 95, and like well now, and like.
Now,
yeah.
What is he then? It's like
42. Well, Gene Hackman, let me see if he's 90. I just had it up a little bit ago.
Walker, are you doing homework or something while we're talking about this nonsense?
Not homework, no.
You've seen the first. He's screenwriting.
Yeah, that works.
Be a talent while the old done battle.
I gotta do this. I don't got much time, man. I gotta maximize it.
How old were the actors? I didn't even know there was a website that existed like this. How cool is this, though?
Yeah, that's
so you can see how old they were when the movie came out. Like Gene Hackman was 50. He's 94 now.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Terrence Stamp, 42. 85, man. Wow. But a lot of them, like, look, isn't Clifton James, isn't that, what's his name?
What year was this one? Was this 80? 1980? Yeah.
Clifton James, isn't that, what's his name? The head editor, whatever his name is?
No. Clifton James is an African-American guy. So.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. Perry White was Jackie Cooper, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Jackie Cooper, yeah. Okay, yeah, he would have been 101. Yeah. Yeah, I know that name.
Jackie Cooper has one of the best lines in that first movie. Is like when he's telling Lois Lane to stop being so urban, and this corn-pone kid has got all these things, and he ends up his comedy of 3 statements by saying, "And in 50 years in the business, Clark Kent is the fastest typist I've ever seen." And that's such a 1978 superhero joke. I fucking love that up and down.
Walker, you've definitely seen Superman 2, right?
No, I was just going to ask him. We've seen the first one. I don't even know if you remember the first one because we saw it when you were pretty young.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
We definitely have not seen the second one.
That's an interesting superhero movie to go back to because, like, obviously, I think we can have the argument of like Robert Downey Jr. is the perfect Tony Stark / Iron Man, but like Christopher Reeves is the perfect Superman. It's like there's no other compare. Like I think it's kind of as like on the dot as it could be. But then on top of that, like Gene Hackman is the perfect Lex Luthor, and everyone's kind of doing like every Lex Luthor since then has kind of done a take on Gene Hackman playing Lex Luthor. I think
I would say every superhero movie villain
has done like a take
on his version of Lex Luthor. I really do.
Yeah,
I mean, Justin Hammer, like Sam Rockwell's just doing his version of Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor.
100%. And then go on. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna tell Walker real quick that I think Steve started off going arguably, and I'm like, oh, this will be fun. But he's actually right. I thought he was gonna say arguably Superman 1978, directed by Richard Donner, is the best superhero movie ever made. And I was gonna go, here we go, because that's not an argument. Superman is the best superhero movie ever made.
Yeah,
It's perfect. It's timeless. It's just perfect Superman that was made at the perfect time where even the stuff that you think might date it just makes it timeless. Like that whole bit where Clark Kent's running and he looks for a telephone booth to look in, and he just like stops and looks up and down because it's like one of those like kiosks instead of a thing where you could actually change. And he keeps running is a joke everyone is going to get forever. You know what I mean? And then when he goes to leap up and there's that 1978 pimp and he's like, "Say, Jim," he's like, "Just a minute," and does this Superman thing. That joke is timeless and it will stay there forever because everybody gets what that is. And I don't think the Marvel movies are going to be able to say that.
Well,
maybe first Avenger.
Yeah, but you think about it, like that's the first one where, well, obviously it's kind of the first comic movie that nails it, right? It's the first one that completely
believe a man can fly. That's why,
right? Like it, and you don't skimp on good actors. That's the other thing that's also very important about that movie is like when you get like Marlon, which is what Marvel always, which is like Kevin Feige grew up like we grew up. So like he gets that like you have to like you're gonna have Superman's dad. You better have someone that's like
Superman's fucking dad
is gonna be fucking Marlon Brando.
Right.
Like Kal-El's gonna be Marlon Brando. Like that Kal-El? No, I'm saying the wrong one. Jor-El.
The thing about that movie though, it's not they did their marketing, you'll believe a man can fly, about look at this top line special effects. And what I always took from that is what you were saying, is that I believe a man can fly because Christopher Reeve and Marlon Brando made me believe a fucking guy was flying around. And it's not, you can do whatever you want with the special effects, but if you're not sitting there believing it in the seat, and that's a thing that they kind of forget now because CG is so cool.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But when they paid, I'm pretty sure I have this anecdote right. That he got $2 million for his Brando for 2 minutes of screen time.
I believe that's accurate. Yeah.
And so, but every fucking penny of that was worth it because he made me think that Superman's clubhouse, the Fortress of Solitude, wasn't the stupidest fucking thing ever, and it was some kind of fortress of, solitude. That's what you're paying fucking Marlon Brando for.
Yeah.
Because I was like 14 or whatever, and I went, oh yeah, that I was just had that wrong in my head. That's what was supposed to happen, right? And that's why their movie stars.
Well, the one thing you can't, which is why Christopher Reeves is the perfect actor for it, which is why you have to revisit it every so often, is just to see how he acts as Clark Kent and Superman. And it's subtle positioning of his shoulders and his like posture, and to understand the complexity of doing that so simply and changing the perspective of what you're looking at on a screen is just so insane to like it. Ironically, why he was such good friends with, like, when you think about his, like, one of his best friends was like Robin Williams, who Robin Williams has the ability to always had the ability to like change his personality like instantly to different things. Like to think that they were like buddies and roommates, that like he probably stole that kind of idea from like Robin Williams for like how he portrayed Superman. Like as he Clark Kent is always like slouched over with his glasses and kind of like like it's just, I don't know. I always remember that one scene. I think it's in Superman 2 where he kind of takes the glasses off to tell Lois, and you're just like, he just changes his posture and his voice kind of gets a little more sturdy, and you're just like, holy shit, he just turned into Superman right there. And it's like nothing that you can't write it down like what he did. It's just like turned into Superman, but you're like watching, I don't know. I'm going to watch that as soon as I'm done. Like as soon as we drop the stream, I'm rewatching these movies.
That's in the first one.
And it is the first one. Okay.
The thing I really love about that particular scene is that it's like The Sixth Sense, where you can watch that whole movie and be entertained, and then you realize he was dead the whole time. It makes you revisit the whole thing instantly, and you kind of get to enjoy it twice in a different way. And that's how I felt about the movie up to that scene, because you're absolutely right. I mean, he basically just shifts his weight and straightens his shoulders back a little, and it looks like a fucking crazy ass CG transformation.
Right.
Right. but because he has acted you to the point where you believe everything, and you're like, oh my fucking god, he's going to tell Lois that he's Superman, and part of telling her that he's Superman is, oh, I get to be Superman now, and it changes the whole movie up before because you didn't realize that he's a big guy that was kind of inwardly doing his scenes, and when he's Superman, it's the blue and red. The shoulders and cape kind of make you do that anyway, so you don't really put it together, right? You just you don't think it's a
amazing
performance until he does both in the same shot, and you're like, oh, that guy's an actor.
Yeah, he's no joke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. That movie is just that one, and then I mean we're speaking so positively of the first one, and then to like have a second one where you introduce Zod and it's Terrence Stamp, and it's just too good. That's about as good of 1-2 punch in movies that you're ever gonna get.
Hey Walker, speaking of that, we've been watching Resident Alien. So that's a thing that Christopher Reeve did that I think in the modern day that Alan Tudyk does really well, where he plays like stupid, goofy, I'm just a crazy alien, and like insane, like planet-ending menace, like in the same scene, wearing a fucking mask that they give little CG blinks to. And you're like, I don't know if that's good acting or good writing or what, but that all is bananas about what's going on with that actor. And so I'll give him that the Christopher Reeve Award.
Yeah, he's a solid actor. I don't know. We went off on a crazy tangent because we never talked about Neuromancer, but
we can get back to it, right?
Yeah, of course. I got no place.
I loved Neuromancer.
That's like
there was a point there, and you're of the age, right? There was a point there where Wired was like kind of our Bible.
Oh,
and it was more like the Farmer's Almanac, where here's what's coming, instead of the sad little like world's funniest videos that it is now.
I attribute it to where I get my information now on like where tech is going and all that stuff. Like back in the day, there's no internet. I mean, there's internet, but it's not like it
not
actually
like now, right?
Not like now. Yeah. And it was people going to speak to people because they heard about things that were going to be made or talked about, and then you got a 6-page article about something that was coming, and you're just like you couldn't explore
read that article all month long
100 times, and you would never and then your imagination filled in the blanks. Whereas now it's like, oh, what is this? Type in my computer. Here's everything I could possibly know about it.
Well, Mimi and I try to tell Walker this all the time, that like in that back in the day where Wired was our, conduit to the world, William Gibson and Bruce Sterling and all those cyberpunk guys were like, here's what's going to fucking happen in about 10 or 15 years. And the crazy thing is they were exactly right. Like you just, the patch thing, you just gave me a bunch of patches in this white cup. And I'm like, oh man, thanks for the patches. I dumped the patches out. I looked at all those. I didn't look at the cup. It's a Max Headroom cup. I got to enjoy your gift twice because I was like, holy fuck, Max Headroom cup, because you know how much I love Max Headroom.
Yes.
And there's no way to bring Max Headroom back. No, there's no reboot. There's no update whatsoever for Max Headroom, because it's not 20 minutes into the future anymore.
Right.
It's 20 minutes in the past. So just imagine that. So that's what my big fear for Neuromancer is, that it's going to be a period piece.
Which,
right?
Yeah.
Here's what 1989 thought of the future.
Which I'm okay with, as long as, and what I don't want is them to try to like butcher it and make it like 2110 or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Like a version of like,
even though you're 100 years off.
Right. but you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
Yeah. It's like, and I have a scary feeling that that's what it's going to end up being, because I don't think
I'll go see it. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's Apple TV, so I get it for free, so I'll see.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Walker, did you watch? It wasn't the Perhapanauts. That's a comic book. The Peripheral. Did you watch that with me and Mommy?
Which one's the Peripheral? Which one's that? Who is that?
Yeah,
Who's
which
the
one is
actress
that?
in that?
It's Chloe Moritz.
Chloe,
from
the from
Kick-Ass.
from the Hit
So
Girl, whatever
the
it is.
conceit is that they time travel by having like robots in the future that they can send their consciousness into.
Okay.
So and they can go back and forth. And so anyway, it's cool. It's based on a book by William Gibson. So I hope here's what happened, because that I didn't read that book, but that show was great. And so here's what I hope happened: that whoever he's dealing with at Apple Plus really get William Gibson. Like they want to treat him like Netflix treats Neil Gaiman or something, right? They're like,
I
we
mean, I
want
hope
you
so.
to be our Canadian cyberpunk guy, because man, if they do Neuromancer and then they do Count Zero as a show, that's
I mean, you could do any of them.
I get
Like,
that, because then it is a period piece, but it's like, here's what 1989 thinks the future is going to be, and that's fine, because Blade Runner takes place in 2019, right? Okay,
yeah.
it's just like whatever the future, their view of the future is. I can't wait.
I would almost.
Man,
now that I'm
Maggie
thinking
Money
about
Eyes,
it more, like
do it
I'm
all.
almost cool with them like doing it like they did Johnny Mnemonic in 90 whatever it was 90, like
Yeah.
do it like that, do it that way, like, and then give me Neuromancer like in the. I don't remember who directed Johnny Mnemonic. Now it's gonna hurt my head. Who directed that?
I don't think I ever knew. That movie was great. I love that movie.
95. So that's 95. That is who's the director?
And he did Matrix 4 years later. That's amazing.
Yeah, is that crazy?
Yeah.
That was directed by Robert Longo. All right, let's go down the rabbit hole. What else did he do? Nothing. He was a movie director. He was a music video director. That is his. He directed that in 95. He doesn't have another thing listed in his name. I wonder if he's still alive though. Wow. Oh, he's an actor. I recognize I recognize him. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Rabbit hole for me. But.
Well, Walker, what do you think? We should tie it up, man. And we've been sort of talking.
No, that was not for you guys. That was for me.
No. I was just gonna say that anyway. What's going on? You get your lacrosse thing. You're number 11 now. How's your arm? Whack your finger.
Everything hurts so bad.
Sounds like high school.
I said to him, he said, "Hey, Daddy, I hurt my hand. I got whacked in the non-armored part of the glove." And I'm like, "It's gonna happen. All you can do, put ice on it."
Yeah.
And so he gets up this morning, and I started thinking, like, of course it's his right hand where he does everything, right? So I'm like, what a funny commentary on human beings, that like there's one hand that like does everything, operates tools, flips people off, whatever, communicates, and the other hand's like, I can't hold a pencil.
Yeah,
right. It's like one hand literally does not know what the other hand is doing. I just think that's funny. So the poor kid. Get figuring it out. Hand. That's all.
It's the beauty of typing. It's the beauty of typing. That's what I always say. You just need one finger. You can hold the chopstick in your mouth if you need to, but it might take you a little while. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, I will gladly talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I got a ping that there were dropped Tron pictures, so I need to see what those are.
Tron 3.
Jared Leto,
yeah,
supposedly posted something about it.
Wow.
So,
wow. I hope it's good. I love Tron, as you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
all right, Steve.
Good
Thanks,
chatting.
Man.
Good to see you at Dune 2, Part 2 this past weekend as well.
That was a blast. As always, thank you.
And I think I got to see if the Ghostbusters tickets are on sale yet.
Frozen Empire.
So that will be the next one. So,
ooh, dang. I accidentally hit end stream. Nothing happened, I hope.
Nope, we're still live. So awesome. All right, gentlemen.
Time to split. Thanks, Steve.
Yep. Chat soon.